Catflap Chat's back once again, episode 39. Another one in sort of semi-lockdown. Pleasure to have the Sheriff of Carmarthen, Mr. Kenneth Owens. How are you doing, pal?
I'm good, Mikey. How are you, pal? How's things? How's lockdown been for you?
Well, actually, it's been all right, to be fair, mate. We've working from home was difficult, but managed to move house, which we probably wouldn't have done. So
Oh,
gone from a
nice.
two-bed flat in the Bay now to a nice four-bed
Six-bed
house.
mansion, six-bed mansion in Llandaff or something.
Yeah, it's the podcast isn't paid enough yet, pal. If I was on your wage, maybe I'd be getting one of them, eh? How's
I don't know about that. I'm getting to the end now, so it's tough times, tough times.
how's it been for you then, mate? It's been a roller coaster lockdown. Obviously, you're back training now, but what's it been like?
Um, yeah, it's been interesting. I think everybody thought after as soon as it was announced that we'd be we'd be locked down for 2 or 3 weeks, and then it'll be straight
Yeah,
back to normal. But so it's interesting. To be fair, like the WRU planned pretty quickly that it could be a bit longer, so sort the boys out with some gym equipment and things like that. And then obviously
yeah,
some training programs came through from the union, the Scarlets.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just been sort of get on with it, really. We've had plenty to do to get through training, but it's just been nice to spend the last 3 or 4 months at home, spending time with the family, which, you know, we're not lucky enough to get, for
yeah,
long periods during, we go through Six Nations, autumn campaigns, World Cups, World Cup training camps. So it's been a bit of, since the Lions tour, especially, or since the last World Cup even, bit of a non-stop. So it's quite nice to put a foot on the brakes and chill out. And, we see what happens in the world and, what other people are going through and all the rest of it is, we were pretty lucky that, we got to stay at home and, like I said, spend time with the family and just chill out.
yeah. I suppose where you are in West Wales, there's loads to go and see as well. So even if you're isolating, you can still go and visit lovely parts of the country and still get your steps in and get out and
Yeah,
about when it's nice.
yeah, I was pretty lucky where I am out sort of tucked out of the way between Carmarthen and Llanelli, which is nice. But no, we're pretty lucky. I've been living here about 6 or 7 years now and haven't
Yeah,
seen a lot of actually where I live. So it's been quite nice to get out, do some walking with Caris and Evan, and just
yeah,
seeing what's around. Got to know the neighbours a little bit better on your routes round, and
yeah.
it's been really good.
What's he been like in lockdown? Have you been strict homeschool, or have you been fucking get outside, get a play, get on the PlayStation, whatever?
It's been a bit of both. Trying to get him into some sort of routine. He's only 5, and he's typical boy, full of energy, wants to get out and play and everything. We've been lucky with the weather.
Yeah,
He's loved that. We've got a bit of open space. We can plenty of areas to walk and stuff, so you can get out and sort of learn through play as they do at that age, and just
yeah,
good. You try to give him some sort of routine and do the basic sort of stuff for them. They've been sent through by the school and subscribe to Carol Vorderman's thing on the internet, and
yeah,
he's been good, to be fair. It's been tough on him, but
yeah,
obviously not been able to see my parents for long periods, and his mates in school and things like that. But he's generally been pretty good, to be fair to him.
You clucking to get back to training with you, or you all right?
Uh, no, it was there's parts of me that wanted to get back, but I knew what the benefits of this period could be, so I just made the
Yeah,
most of it, and I knew as soon as we get back, whatever happens, it's going to be a long old year coming up, because
yeah,
from a club point of view, we've got to finish last season,
yeah,
so we've got 2 league matches coming up. Hopefully things go our way, we may get a semi-final, which you never know, and then we're straight back into Europe, and then I think if we get to the final of that, then the week after we start next season, which is mad, and then we've got to finish last year's Six Nations, and then
yeah,
into an autumn series again. So it's going to be a busy old year. So we always knew that would happen. So it was a period just to take a break when it's here.
And what I mean, I'm about to say this now as I crack open a beer, mate. But I was going to say, you're not too bad. You were training in the morning, so cheers.
I'm just a bit gutted I can't join you for one now.
I know. We'll have to have one. We'll have to have one in the capital sometime, pal.
We will.
What sort of lockdown trainer were you there? Do you? Because I spoke to some of the other boys. Obviously, they don't get time. Unless they're injured, which is obviously horrific. Don't get rest like this. Yeah. So did you take a couple of weeks off and just be like, well, actually, I'm going to have some food. I'm going to relax and I'm going to chill out a bit.
Yes and no, I suppose. I used the first sort of week to chill out. Luckily, I got a walk bike here, so I just done some general ticking over, get a little bit of a sweat on, and feel good. And then I generally just enjoyed sort of waking up and taking the day as it came, fitting in a bit of training whenever it came, whenever I could fit it in during the day. Obviously, Caris was working from home, so juggling that. So I was trying to do so the first week I chilled out, and then after that sort of went into sort of 3 or 4 week. So I do 3 or 4 weeks on, then have a week off. 3 or 4 weeks and then a week off. And just mixed it up, done a lot of bike work at the start. Didn't do much running, and I built the running in as we went along. Which was good. And then sort of later on in it, I tried to get a bit more of a routine to start getting back. Knowing when we go back, it'd be earlier start. So trying to get into a bit of a routine, getting training done earlier and the rest of it. And then from a dietary point of view, you'd remember me in my UWIC days being up 127, 128 kilos. So I've definitely got the fat gene and the easy put on weight gene. So I try to watch what I ate during the week, especially, a bit of, hold on a minute, he's just going to bed.
That's all right, though. Are you
carrying on? Sorry.
That's all right, bye.
Yeah, so got, a couple of tricks up the sleeve, a bit of the intermittent fasting and things like that, just to try and keep the weight off. And then, having a beer, catching up with people, trying to do it, usual nights, Friday and Saturday, and on the Zoom calls, Zoom parties and all that. And just trying to be sensible. You do have the odd couple of weeks where you have a couple of midweek drinks of somebody's birthday or whatever it may be. So, you try and look after yourself. I went in pretty decent shape, to be fair, for a change.
How's the body feeling?
Oh, good. It's like, I'm not saying like brand new, but, I've... So it's given me a lot of time to think, a lot about stuff. I sort of mentally sort of drained by the end of the Six Nations. And, it'd been a long, especially with the World Cup, it was real physical, mentally demanding. So it was nice just to take a step back and sort of reset yourself, set some new goals, decide what I still want to achieve in the game, what I want to, which direction I want to go. And from a body point of view, it was just lovely to not have to take any hits or for a good couple of months, just let everything settle. Luckily, I touch wood, I didn't have any injuries coming back from the World Cup, no niggles. I was pretty good, but it's been a long old couple of years, so it does catch up with you in the end, mentally as much as physically. So it was nice going back into training and feeling fresh for a change.
That's good, mate. Take us back to the beginning, pal. A couple of things. So why, for people who might, I'm sure everyone does know, but why are you called the Sheriff?
So Dwayne Peels, I think, started it. I'm obviously a proud Carmarthen boy. No majority of the people in the town talk, especially growing up on my early days of Scarlets, I'd talk about the place non-stop. Stories that I knew, I could revert everything back to a story or someone in Carmarthen. And then obviously both grandparents had been previous mayors and sheriffs and whatnot of the town, and sort of came from there.
Class. Well, do you know who's done the Twitter account yet? Have you found out?
I don't know. I had my suspicions, and it wasn't them, which I was very surprised with. But I don't know. But I have heard a rumour that it's a guy from Cardiff.
Guy from
So
Cardiff.
a guy from Cardiff, apparently. So I don't
Ah.
know who he is, but I've been told that I know somebody who knows who it is.
Oh,
Basically,
here we go.
he won't tell me who it is, but I think it's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
What cracks me up though is people. I was down in White Sands a fortnight ago, White Sands Beach, and there was a lady from North Wales came down, and so obviously socially distance having a chat, and she was going, "Oh, lovely area down here," and I was, "Yeah, just come down for the day and whatever." And she goes, "Well, you've ruined it for everybody now after you showed that picture on your Twitter feed." And I was like, "What?" And I had no idea. I didn't even know when the last time I tweeted was or put anything on social media. And she goes, "Yeah, you put pictures of all them beaches up." And she got it up for me. And I said, "That's not me. If you look at it, it's a parody account." The amount of people who actually think that Ken the Sheriff is me on Twitter, well, everybody who know me will know that it's definitely not me, because I'm not even that funny. So I find it's a good laugh. It's a good bit of banter. And
It is class. That one, the Gavin Ensign one as well, is funny.
I did see the Gavin Ensign Twitter feed.
Yeah, the Gavin Ensign Twitter one as well.
They're brilliant. You know, to be fair, you got to admire these people that they got enough time in their hands to run parody accounts. So that I only got time to run my own Twitter feed, let alone somebody else's.
Class. Take us back to the beginning then, pal. Obviously, growing up in Carmarthen, in Westers Chest, how did you, what was your journey through sort of like school and club and then academy? How did that form for you? What got you into rugby?
Well, like most people, really, my family all played. You know, old man was heavily involved in the rugby club. You know, old man's best mates and everything, and just sort of that's where my mother doesn't like me saying this, but you know, grew up around the rugby club, go to training with my old man on a Tuesday and Thursday nights, and then he'd coach the juniors, so I'd be down there on a Sunday, you know, going there on a Saturday to watch him play. And that's how it was. And then obviously when you get old enough to join in on the Sunday with the juniors, played all the way through from under eights all the way to youth.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was lucky enough in school. We had a really good school team, especially my year. You know, a lot of guys got age grade caps and age grade representation. You know, obviously, Reece Priestley was my year in school. So we had a really good team, which was great, because then we were constantly playing, you know, top level school level rugby. And then when I went to the first team, you know, we had my first year, I think we had something like 4 or 5 Welsh schools, Welsh youth internationals. We had Ali Thomas was with us, and Roger Davis, Garth Morgan. You know, these all played regional rugby. Reece Priestland. You know, we had a quality team, which was great. And then obviously on a youth level, we had a really good youth team with Command Athletics. We played National League there as well. I think I remember beating Uwick youth pretty bad once. I think you were playing 10 that one.
Not surprised then, pal. Probably kicked it behind me.
I know. No, so you know, and I was lucky. I got to play good rugby with a good bunch of boys, with my mates who, you know, fortunately enough, gave me the opportunity then to be picked up, you know, by the Scarlets. Probably went into the academy a little bit late, sort of in my last year in school. Got called up to Wales under 19s a year young, and then went into the academy after that, which probably at about 17, 18, I had a decision to make then, whether I gave it a crack and tried to take rugby a little bit more seriously. You know, I enjoyed going out with youth boys and all the rest of it, like you do. And I remember my school teacher coming up and just saying, "Look, Ken, you've got this opportunity now called Chance with Wales under 19s. Go to Sky, you've got to make a decision. You either give it a good go or you go the other way." And you know, luckily I had good advice from him and decided to give rugby a good go. And then obviously got a scholarship to go to UWIC.
Yeah.
The only guy in a rugby scholarship to do modern history and politics.
I didn't even know they did that at UWIC, mate.
It was good fun, and obviously it was. I ended up only being there for 3 months. It was quite tough. I probably went into the environment of the Scarlets first team pretty quick from being in sort of the academy, and there's a lot of travelling back and forth between Cardiff and Llanelli, and probably got a lot. And it's not something that I was overly keen on doing. Was going to university anyway.
Yeah.
So probably my heart wasn't in doing a degree as much as it should have been. I went there because I got given the opportunity to go on a rugby scholarship.
Yeah.
But the 3 months I had at UWIC was a really
quiet,
good grounding for me. It was definitely quiet. It was said by no UWIC archer ever. But no, it was a great grounding for me. Got to play with some really talented people, met some good people as well, and friends I've still got now, which is great. But our 3 months playing, I was gutted because I was never allowed to play in the booster games
on the Wednesdays.
Now I played one booster game in my 3 months, and basically spent every Saturday afternoon going up to everywhere across Wales, and my head kicked in, which was brilliant. But it definitely, because that's what you get when you play for UWIC. You've got pace, speed, fitness, skills, the lot.
Yeah.
It goes out the window, especially when you go away from home, because every team you play against just wants to kick the shit out of it.
Kick your head in. Got Bather or Narberth or whatever.
Let's just go and let's give the students a good hiding this weekend, which is brilliant. And it's like, and I learned a lot about myself as a player, and had a really good grounding. Playing in some tough places against some tough men who were good rugby players as well, because UWIC them was Division 1 side it was then, so one below the Premiership. It was a really good standard of rugby, and I really enjoyed it, and we had a good laugh, and we had a good team, and learned a lot in them 3 months about myself as a player, and then luckily enough I got, at the end of that season, I went back and played for the Quins, which didn't go down too well in Carmarthen with the athletic side, being a staunch athletic man, but had a good couple of months there. And then at the end of that season, went into the Scarlets first team squad at 05, 06 that was, and so it's quite quick how that transition happened, which is good in a way because you don't have to think too much about it.
Just hit the ground running and off you go. How do you find the transition from training from, say, 6 months before that? You might have been doing a bit of your own weights or whatever with school and whatever you might have been doing, into a full professional environment where it's, 6-8 sessions a week.
It's different. I think one thing being in the academy, it does teach you, even though we started the academy a little bit late, but you do get sort of discipline. Ali Walters, who's obviously just won the World Cup with South Africa, he's at Leicester now, was our academy coach, and he'd be, even when we were at UWIC, he'd be there. We'd do one session at, say, 6 o'clock in the morning, and we go to lessons or lectures, if I was in school, whatever it may be, do them, and then we may do something at lunchtime, and then after that was, you'd be training, so you do get that. It is slightly different when you go into a professional environment, which actually makes it easier, because you're still doing probably the same volume of training, but you're doing it between sort of 8 and 3 instead of doing it at 6 till 8 at night. So if anything, it is tougher. Obviously the intensity of training goes up, and because obviously you're with professional athletes, people at the top end of their game. And at the Scarlets at that time, you had like Stephen Jones just come back from Claremont. You had Dwayne Peels, Simon Easterby, Dav Jones, Matthew Rees was there. Quality international rugby players who. So the level is definitely going to go up, but you are prepared for what to expect. And I did enjoy it at the start because, like I said, I was a big old goose and probably didn't drop a lot of my weight till my first full of pre-season. After that, went from about 128 kilos down to what I am now, about 109, 110. And probably being real heavy was great at age grade sort of rugby. You'd get away with it, but just didn't have the engine for first team for pro rugby, and it was a good lesson though. And Wayne Proctor and Adam Carey and Phil Davis put me through my paces, and then like I said, Ali Walters was great, and these guys and really give me a good grounding.
Class. What is it about the Scarlets? Obviously, a one club man. What is it that's made you want to stay there? I'm sure you've had offers elsewhere. You haven't got to talk about them or whatever. But what is it about Scarlets that makes it special? Because it looks special from the outside. The brand of rugby, the success they've had, the players that have come through either from age grade or they've brought in, like, I don't know, your Regan Kings and people like that. What is it about the Scarlets that make it special?
I think there's a couple of things. You've got the connection with the region, with the people in the region. I think, I was never a massive Llanelli RFC fan growing up, especially being from Carmarthen. But once you went regional, obviously I played a little bit of Llanelli under 17s way back when, but I've only really known the Scarlets as a pro team. And I think when you went into that, you see the Llanelli has always really been a region, just not in name. So I think you can argue about some of the history, is it Llanelli, is it the Scarlets? But really, it is the Scarlets because it's always been a region. It's always represented West Wales being the last, the professional club that's furthest west, or the first class club. So, it all makes sense. I think what you've got with that is the connection with the community down here, because we haven't got the finances. We all rely heavily on developing players from the region. So you get a lot of players come through our academy system or through the semi-pro ranks. So, the majority of the squad we got either have come from the region. A lot of them still live in the region and play here. So there's just that massive connection between the players, the staff, and the people. And I think that's, what makes it special. We've got a real uniqueness with the connection with the Welsh language and everything like that. And I just think it is a unique place, and we're a different breed down here, but in a good way.
I like, mate. West is chest. I love it.
I didn't get that memo though, so.
That's right, pal. I got tits. Don't worry about it, mate. Talk me through some of the. Obviously, you're captain for 4 or 5 seasons. Talk me through some of the memories you got then with the Scarlets, and obviously a couple of finals, a couple of wins, a couple of losses.
Yeah, so I remember Wayne asked me to be captain. I thought he was joking initially, but it meant a huge amount to me to be made captain of the Scarlets, and done it for 6 seasons now. Wait and see what happens next season, but to captain my home region, for a long period of time, and I think seeing the transition of, we were in a bit of the bar. We sort of got to 1 playoff and then didn't really follow up the next year.
Yeah.
I think we really built them. From the start when I was made captain, we had a really young squad. We give young boys an opportunity, and we left. One thing I did as captain, I wanted to make sure that everybody's opinion really mattered, and I think that's what we managed to get to. That there's a lot of honesty in the group, and everybody felt they could express themselves, whether it be on the field or if they had something to say that was worthwhile. Everybody felt that they could contribute, and I think that's one thing that we really did, especially the year we won the league. Like I said, we built for 2 years, and then we got to our first final, and really got there in style.
Yeah,
people do forget we lost the first 4 or 5 games of the season. It was about 3:30 in the morning in Edinburgh after we lost, and I don't know how many times people told me that I should be sacked as a captain or whatever, and I just went, no one will say anything when we win our next 20 games and we win the league.
Yeah.
And I was reminded that night that it was we didn't win 20, we won 19 on the bounce, and I won the league. But I just think everybody really bought in, to what Wayne and Steve and Byron were trying to do from a coaching point of view, and Johan Cunningham, and we just went with it, and we started slowly, and we just got better and ground out some wins, and then when the weather opened up for us, we could start playing. We really showed what we could do. Obviously, I was devastated to miss missed the semi and the final, getting injured in training the week of the semi-final. But just to be part of that, and especially that semi-final and final, watching both them games, I've never been proud of the boys, what they put in and the way they won it as well. It was a real professional performance. We went out there to play. We weren't going to change what's in our DNA because it's a final. And I think John Barkley hit the nail on the head. He said, why do we need to be a team that's got to lose a final to go and win a final? Let's just go out and win a final. And that's what the boys went and done. And I think the next step of that was when I first took over as captain, another point I made was I was sick about hearing about things that happened in the past.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I ever disrespected them because, they were there, but I wanted to make sure that this group of boys that we had at that point were remembered in history. And that was the first step, was winning the league. Yeah. We added some players the year after. And
you almost went back to back, didn't you?
Yeah, we had and to be fair, two things happened there. What I like, we backed that season up with the performances the next season.
Yeah.
Get into European semi-final.
Yeah.
Get into the league final. And we played some really good stuff to get to the league final again. Beating Glasgow convincingly away from home.
Yeah.
Again, because we'd had to do it the year before as well, winning an away semi-final. So the only team in back-to-back years that has actually done that.
Yeah.
Gone away from home in a semi-final and won them. It was just that season we came up against the best side in Europe, and they openly admitted they learned a lot from our games. The game we played, beat them in the semi-final the year before, and they basically, their target was always us. And to be fair, we got blown away in the semi-final. We were a lot better in the league final, but sometimes you've got to put your hands up and just go, you've been beaten by a better team.
How do you deal with stuff?
You're meant to be in bed, Evan.
You carry on, boy.
Can be 2 seconds.
Oh, I love this.
Sorry, man.
That's all right. Funny boy. Don't worry about it. What's to see what's going on, Z?
Yeah, you can hear me talking. It was the same in the House of Rugby one. He just kept sticking his head. This is going to take about 5 hours to do now if you don't get to bed.
That's all right, pal. Don't you worry about it.
Wait. No, so European semi, so is
Leinster.
We just got, we just came up against a side that were on top form, and
they've been one of the best in the Northern Hemisphere now for some time as well, haven't they?
They have. They never stop. I think they had a bit of a lull in the year we beat them. I think we gave them a massive wake up call that year.
Yeah.
And then they went and developed their game and then took it to a new level. I think they beat Racing as well in the European final. And I think the only thing that probably kept it quite tight was the weather out in Bilbao, and they were outstanding that year. And, sometimes just it was a regret, but after the quarter final against La Rochelle, it was a big moment for me. Obviously, I was involved in the last quarter final back in 2007. So to get a quarter final, get into the knockout stages with this group of boys, win that game, and go to a semi, and knowing that the whole squad absolutely gave everything. Boys didn't leave anything out on the pitch, and you just got to go. You're beaten by a better side. There was no what ifs or what if this had happened or it had gone. It was just we gave it our best, and we weren't good enough on the day, which was disappointing. But that's life as well.
How do you deal with, what sort of person are you away from the game when you get home or whatever? What sort of person are you in terms of taking the losses? You get highs, but you do get lows, whether it's injury, defeat, finals. How do you deal with them?
I probably said deal with them reasonably well. I do keep a lot of stuff bottled up at times, but losses do hurt. You lose games, they do hurt because you got pride in what you do, but you've almost got to park them there and then go in on Monday. You can't change it there and then. So what you can do is sit back, reflect, and learn from what went wrong. You can't just keep looking in the past. You've got to keep looking forward and make sure that what went wrong in one game, you get it right for the next one. And it probably took me a while to learn that, but that's the thing. You can't change what's just happened. It's all you can control is what's to come, and I think that makes it a lot easier to deal with. Losses, and it may be not the right thing to do, but sometimes you just got to go upstairs after a game, grab a beer. You're going to have a bit of discussion with people about it, but you can't change what's happened. You got to just make sure it's better for the week after.
Nice, yeah. And do you get much, like, on that subject then? Do you get any, obviously you've got the Ken the Sheriff, which is funny, but do you get much shit like social media and trolling and anything like that at all? Does it affect you if you do?
To be fair, I've been pretty lucky. I'm not a big one for social media. I don't engage in it. I've got Twitter, I got Instagram, all the rest of it. More because the boys about 10 years ago when it first came out did set one up in my name, which so I have got it. Just
childish,
to basically. So I've got my own one, knowing that no one else has got one in my doing it for me. So it's not something I've ever really engaged in. So probably because of that, I've never been trolled. I've never, sometimes you have a bad game, somebody tags you in something, but at the end of the day, it's people's opinion, and that's fine. And I don't mind if somebody says, "Oh, you had a shit game," then I had a shit game. I know that myself. It's like, but I do feel for some boys who do engage a lot more in social media. That's their decision. But some of these people, hide behind the old keyboard warriors, like seeing what like Cathy went through and during that time, and it's just like some of it. He could have scored a hat-trick for the British Lions, and people still would have told him he had a shit game. Or he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that, and it's like that's because people have made a decision about what they're going to do, irrespective. If you've got an opinion or you've done something, you say that's black, they're just going to say it's white for whatever. That's I think people just get a kick out of getting in and getting into people, and if that's what entertains them, then that's fine. But I think it is unfair what a lot of, not just rugby, but what a lot of people go to is it should be a positive thing, social media. But I've been lucky enough. I haven't experienced that, but I don't engage in it either. So.
No, that's fair enough, mate. I think it's one of those things, for me, like, everyone who's on Twitter should have their passport or their driver's license against it, because some of the things that get said nowadays, and it's like a picture of a flag or a crest of a team, Simon 1246567, you're a fucking whatever, like, it's pathetic. It's ridiculous. Mate,
I think that's the worst thing. No, I was just going to say, I think that's the thing. If I some people, they do mess you, or you always get message, "Oh, great game today," all the rest of it. Somebody say, "Well, you're over the hill, you're too old," or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. And I probably got more respect for somebody who's got his face up there in his name saying it than somebody who, the old keyboard warriors. It's probably like a 5-year-old, or probably not 5-year-old, like a 12, 13, 14-year-old. That's, somebody whose opinion is irrelevant anyway.
I can leave them to it, mate. I didn't realise when I was doing a bit of research, pal. So you were a Barbarian before you were capped for Wales, is that right?
Yeah, I played for the Barbarians June 2010 against England. Before so I'm not
what was that
sure
like?
how. Oh, it was the best week of my life. No, it was quite surreal. So I'd obviously been involved with Wales as Six Nations, hadn't been capped. I was due to go on the summer tour, and Gats on like the Monday or Tuesday goes to me, right, no, it was Monday, said, right, you need to go home tonight, pick whatever you need. The Barbarians need a hooker, so you're going up to London Tuesday after training, play for the Barbarians on Sunday, and then you come back, and then you'll come back in a camp with us, and then we go on the summer tour in New Zealand. I think we did play South Africa before going on tour, so I had a week back in with Wales and before going on summer tour. And it was a great experience. So hadn't played international rugby before, and the experience, that was the nearest thing that I was going to get to international experience before being capped. And yeah, the players we got to play with were phenomenal. Just like George Smith was on that tour, Nugget, Martin Williams, Byron Kelleher, David Smith. Trying to think who else.
He was class. I remember him. Is he the winger?
He was class. He was Toulon and then Claremont.
Toulon, yeah. Immense.
Rodney Sorialo, and then you played with like Ben Kay, Julian White, Ben Ragus, Jerome Tion, Census Johnson, and Alan Quinlan. All these great blokes and from different rugby environments and different countries, and it was just great experience for me to be part of that game of Twickenham, playing against England and having a good laugh.
How do you feel walking into an environment like that when you're like, early 20s, 23, 24, whatever? Do you feel intimidated walking into that, only having a couple of years of sort of pro behind you? Or
it was a shock. I was lucky that I probably got to the week a little bit late, because obviously I had to train with Wales early part. So I caught the train up to London, went to the hotel. He said, right, get a taxi over to this restaurant. And probably the best thing that happened was, walked in, all the boys were in there. They'd had a couple of beers, and I seen Martin Williams, and I knew Nugget, but not really well at the time. But I knew him well enough, to have a chat. And when I sat down next to him, and then it was just, right, here's a beer, sit down, have food. And then it was pretty easy then, and it was really relaxed, and as Barbarians rugby is, and got to know a lot of people. Kingsley Jones was coaching there as well, so I played with Reese's son at age grade, so I knew Kingsley. So it was pretty easy, do you know what I mean? And because Barbarians, you're there, the spirit of the Barbarians, is to entertain and to play free-flowing rugby. So you've got to throw an international side. You've got like 3 or 4 days to do it. So the boys just muck in, get to know each other, and have a couple of beers, and that's the best way to do it. You couldn't do it week in, week out, obviously, but it was it was a great laugh, and opened my eye to actually, like, say we had a couple of beers and stuff, and then how professional the boys would be when they turned up to train. Then it was bang, spot on, and class. And then we run England close. We actually started poorly, and we came back. We got better as the game went along. Yeah, and I think if I remember, we had quite a few injuries during the game. So we had a lot of the bench on early and things like that. But that was a great experience, especially to play at that level, especially before being capped. It was a good foot.
Yeah, not many get to do that before being capped today. No. Talk to me about. So I was at your first cap. In Namibia. Was it? It was not Hamilton, New Plymouth, was it? The World Cup.
New Plymouth, Yarrow Stadium.
Me and Davey were there.
Nice.
We had done it. No, it was my parents live in Auckland, so we flew out and we did the Fiji game, Namibia game, and what was the other one?
Samoa.
Yes, we did the Wales games basically, and then came back after the group stages. But we were there because that was a game that Gethin Jenkins Mellon scored that
unbelievable try,
ridiculous try. So we were sat under the post where he scored.
Yeah,
me and Davey had cans of Heineken, like, come on.
That was I couldn't believe that. That was that try. I'm not sure. No, I don't think I was on at that point. And I think I was just about to come on.
Yeah.
And I just remember picking the ball up, and I was like, Jesus Christ, he's got a sidestep. He managed to get a sidestep, a dummy.
Almost like a little goose.
I was like, this He's like Sarevi out there. So the thing about that game was, like, there was a group of our boys that are stormers. Mellon played really well. Alibrew, Ryan Jones, I think, played pretty well.
Yeah. George North
carved up, and I think Scott Williams scored 4 tries or something like that. And the Namibia number 8 had man of the match.
Yeah.
But you actually look back at the game, and he had an absolute stormer. In the game. They lost by 90 points, and he did score a try, which obviously Sean Edwards was tamping with.
Yeah.
But no, I remember, never forget that game for obvious reasons. Being in my first cap. I'd been on the bench for Wales about 18 months before against France in the Six Nations, didn't get on.
Yeah.
Obviously then didn't get capped in the summer tour, then got injured and missed most of that season, and then got an opportunity to go to the World Cup because of injury to other players. And, a proud moment to get my first cap, and, luckily enough, I've gone on to play a lot more since.
What was your initiation? Were they doing the songs by then?
Yeah, no, they were, but it was just basically in your own. Have you gone off again?
No, I got you. I got you again, still.
Paul.
I mean,
you got me. Sorry. Yeah.
I might as well start paying the fucking bills here. Internet shit.
Nah. Do you not start initiation one again and then pick up?
You're a professional. You are, pal. I was going to say,
this is work, isn't it? That's all
I know.
All day.
Fair play. Yeah. So what was the initiation like? Because I know the boys have to sing songs now and again.
No. Yeah, we pretty lucky because obviously we had a 4-day turnaround, I think, between there and Fiji, which was the last group game. So we had a couple of beers back in the hotel and just chilled out. Didn't really get toasted and nothing like that. But it was all agreed once the tournament was ended that it'd be a good couple of beers, and then you'd sing your song then, because there was quite a lot of new caps from the summer to the World Cup. So just got to sing in the team room in front of the boys. So I was pretty lucky. The singing in the aftermatch function didn't start till 2012 maybe, when Lou Reed and Aaron Shingler got their first caps, and he'd wound Shings up there. He needs to get up and sing the song at the dinner. And to be fair, he went up to get his cap and then turned and just grabbed the mic on the podium and started singing. And then Lou Reed done it. And then a couple of Scottish guys had their first caps. They sang. And it's been a tradition ever since that you get your first cap, you've got to get up in front of the whole aftermatch function and sing a song. So I did have my comeuppance, if you want to call it that, my 50th cap out in Paris. When I had my 50th, so I got up to receive that off Dennis Gethin, and then obviously had to get the mic and duly obliged with a marvellous rendition of Cal O'Lan with some of the best acoustics you'd find in Europe. And
I bet you nailed it, mate. Your lovely dulcet tones.
Oh, it was. No, I wouldn't say it was impressive. It was absolutely shocking. But I made up. I put plenty of oomph into it anyway, which made up for the tone deafness.
Clash, you can't fault effort, mate. And then since then, obviously, you've had a good couple of years. What do you have? 2000. You had the triple crown, then Grand Slam the year after, and you were sort of established and starting out.
Yeah, we had that first year, 2012. We had the crown, Grand Slam, championship the year after, which was phenomenal. We had then we missed out on the championship by points in a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
And then, we obviously quarter-final 2015 World Cup, which is great. And then probably a lot changed then from 2016 onwards. So I've got a shirt out in New Zealand on that. And then got the opportunity over the next couple of years. Managed to get myself on a Lions tour, which was great.
Yeah.
Obviously, the pinnacle of rugby. And then obviously the last sort of 2 years with Wales have been unbelievable. Gats has really built something. When the winning record, I think it's 14 games or whatever it was. A World Cup semi-final, and it's been a great couple of years to be part of that. And obviously the new coaches coming in now. It was a tough first hit out for them in the Six Nations, but they didn't have time to reflect. But I think that the players in Wales, we still got plenty of quality and strength and depth.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fatigue from the World Cup, and I think this break will do a lot of players a lot of good. And we should be ready to hit the ground running. Over the coming months for the international series.
Talk to me about the Lions then, pal. Your experiences with the Lions, obviously watching it as a kid, but then the call-ups, the games, the experience. What was it like?
The Lions is the ultimate. Didn't really know what it was before 1997, obviously, because I was too young. So my first experience was 1997. Tour of South Africa, playing against the world champions. Likes of. I remember going to the rugby club, watching it. You had Scott Gibbs causing carnage, Neil Jenkins on fire. Who else was?
Bateman, was he
fire?
there?
Alan Bateman was there. Keith Wood, huge hero of mine. On absolute fire. Martin Johnson, one of the greatest captains there's ever been, winning that series. And really rung. So that's the ultimate, that's the pinnacle, and was lucky enough to get called up in 2017. I knew the enormity of it. Just from Carmarthen, we got some great Lions, the likes of Delmy Thomas, Roy Bergers, Stephen Jones, Ian Evans. You know what I mean? It's so the way people in the town talk about them, just shows how big the Lions is. And to get a call up was massive, and then almost to not go on tour was almost devastating blows. Given 10% chance to make the tour, but luckily enough, Gats and the medics gave me an opportunity and to prove my fitness, and managed to make a recovery well enough to get on the tour, and then to get the nod to start my first game against the Blues in the first midweek match, and then Gas really captain was just an absolutely massive privilege, but quite surreal at the same time. Making my Lions debut and being captain as well, running out with the Lion and running out with Leo and everything that comes with it. Was a surreal experience. And, it was a great 6 weeks. Massive party atmosphere with all the supporters around. I think we played in Wellington, and it was something like 35,000 seat stadium or something, 25,000 Lions fans and about 40,000 outside or something daft like that. It was like a sea of red there, and it was just a fantastic experience. And then obviously, which I'll bring it up before anybody else does. Just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, almost sort of thing with Sanjay being taken out in the air and the ball falling in my lap, and I think the only thing I'd done just dropped it, and I didn't attempt to catch it, and I got a bit of good luck. And I think a bigger talking point would have been as if, because we actually, the scrum that it came that came from it, we actually turned it over.
Yeah.
And I think if Webby just stuck it on the foot and made it a foot race, I think we would have been under the sticks, and it'd have been a different story completely. And I think I'd have, but no, the Lion, it was a great experience. Something to be part of was absolutely phenomenal, and I feel really privileged to be able to call myself a Lion.
Where does the passion come from? I love it when they're panning the camera down, whether it's in the Principality or wherever. Alan Wynn's almost always crying, but you can just see the passion coming out from you as you're singing the anthem. Where does that come from?
I think, obviously my upbringing coming from a Welsh language area, going to a Welsh language school, you just get a massive pride. I remember, one of the first memories of primary school was learning the Welsh national anthem and having us stand up in assembly and sing it before we went up to the senior part of primary school. So, it's always been a bread me and I've always valued how important it is for me to be Welsh and to represent my country. It's been a lifelong ambition. I've been lucky enough to do it. And I just think what it represents, what it means to my family, my friends, and the people who give me the opportunity to do it. And, the anthem is probably Evans up again, he's running around. No, and I think being privileged to do that. And you sing the anthem and the words really resonate. It's talking about the people and the country, not about like a monarch or somebody like that. It's talking about the people that make our country great. And I think, especially the older you get, you probably start to think that you haven't got many more of these left in you, and it really does mean a lot. And
yeah,
and it's one thing that motivates me, similar to probably the New Zealand boys when they do the haka, or the Fijian they do the Civitar, and inspires on me. It's singing the anthem and having that opportunity to do it amongst 80,000 of my fellow countrymen, and what it means for them as well.
Yeah, I love it. He's dancing in the background.
Get to bed. He's off his head.
That's all right, boy. Let's on a Lions tour, obviously you hang around with the Welsh lads a lot most of the other time. Who are the boys that you either didn't know very well or surprised? No, you're not surprised. That might be the wrong word, but boys that you got on with and thought, I didn't know him, wasn't sure what he's going to be like, but actually, fucking great crack.
Yes, you always get boys like that. I think we tend to know a lot of the Irish boys and the Scottish boys there, because obviously we play a lot against them in the league.
Yeah.
So you do get an instant sort of bond with them. Got on really well with Jack McGrath. Obviously we as a prop and hooker, and we ended up playing a lot together because of coming off the bench for the Lions. Obviously Kyle Sinclair. So we formed a little bit of a unit because we scrummed a lot together in training, and then obviously came off the bench as well. So really got on with them guys. Top blokes. But Hask probably surprised me a little bit, James Haskell, because he's quite known for being a bit of a Marmite character. But what you see is what you get, and he's hugely entertaining. And I really got on with him and caught up with him a couple of times since. And he's, there's always false perceptions of certain guys, but he's a top bloke. To be fair, got on with him real well.
And what were they like after New Zealand? After obviously.
Get to bed. Can I go over to Mammy there? Yeah, go and ask Mammy then. Evan. Hold on a minute. What do you want? Mommy's. Can you go with Mammy? No, I want Chris. There's no Chris yet. Go and ask Mammy. Mammy knows the Chris. Sorry, but
It's all right, pal. It's all right, mate. It's all good.
Oh, so
Funny.
The New Zealand boys, they were a little bit very disappointed, obviously, but because they only get one opportunity every 12 years, so that's probably one opportunity in their career.
Yeah.
To win a Lion series, so for them not to do it is probably it was obviously absolutely devastating for them, and. But they were good as gold. I think Kieran Reid, I want to congratulate him with his 100th cap, and he was obviously hugely disappointed, and with what happened. And I've spoken to him since, and he's a great bloke. I think I said something a couple of weeks ago, and it got slightly. It reads differently to how I said it. So, but he was obviously hugely disappointed, as they all were. I think. We were disappointed we didn't get the win, but overall, if you looked at the series, a draw was pretty fair. And I think so we ended up, having a beer with them after the game and had a good chat. And I think, one of my favourite pictures on that tour is actually having all the players from both squads just on the field with Sam and Kieran holding the trophy aloft, and a lot of respect shown there. That's one of my favourite photos from that tour.
Class. One of my favourite photos, pal, is.
Get to bed, man. Hold on a minute. Go upstairs. Now, be quiet for there then. Oh. Nightmare. Right, we're on about pictures.
I know, I love the fact he knows where the snack drawer is and he wants them now.
Oh, no.
Class.
Unbelievable.
Takes after his dad, like.
Oh, I know, definitely.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of my favourite pictures is the George North one where he scores the crossfield and you're just in the background, like...
That, one thing we're on about that. And I just went, everybody just really pissed off for not scoring the try. And I was like, it was a little bit of relief. I didn't have to catch the ball for a start under pressure. But I was like, oh, you got to have a bit of a laugh. And I was like, it was all tongue-in-cheek. The first scene, I run over and celebrate George straight after. And it was just, you've got to have a bit of fun, surely, on the field. It's a serious enough game as it is. And, you know, we worked our way up the field. Great kick by Biggs. George has caught it. And we were that close. It was probably lucky that we didn't actually collide with each other, but it was more I did see it come in. I just thought I'd give a little bit of that. And, you know, there's been some funny pictures online, but I did get a lot of grief of some people saying that I should be more of a team man and things like that. And I was like, oh, grow up, man.
Shut up, like.
I'm having a bit of fun. Yeah. It's like, but there we are. But no, that is a good one. That's, you know, and George obviously had a bit of fun with it after, which is always good.
Yeah, it's funny, mate. I enjoy that one. Hey, look, I won't keep you too much longer, pal. What's the future like for you? Obviously, back now with the Scarlets. Got 5 or 6 Wales games this year. Obviously, next season kicks in straight away, and then next summer hopefully with the Lions. What's the future hold?
Yeah, I think through this lockdown period now, I've sort of thought. So I want to try and play for as long as I possibly can because Evan.
He's got a Dyson out. It's cracked me up.
Nice. There you go. Don't be quiet, please. Hi. He's
I love it. He's in the background with the Hoover, like.
He's a nightmare. He knows exactly what he's doing as well. That's what No, I want to made a decision lockdown. I had a real think about what the future potentially holds. I decided I want to try and play for as long as possible because you're spoken to the people. You're a long time retired, and and I do love the sport. I love the game. It is tough at times, but it gives you so many opportunities and memories, and so that's what I want to do at the top level for as long as I can, if possible. So short term, made some goals. Obviously, finish this season. Hopefully, get to my 250th game with the Scarlets. I'm 2 weeks from that. And then, hopefully get picked for the last year's Six Nations to finish that off in the autumns. And who knows if I'm playing well enough that, gives me the chance to, start for the Scarlets first. Because obviously Ryan Elias, is a top quality player who's playing some great stuff as well. Gives me opportunity to play there, and then obviously keep playing for Wales. Then who knows? Another Lions tour would be a huge honour. But it's people are going to say they're not thinking about that now, when they'd be lying. It's building up, but the only thing you can control as a player is your form and keeping yourself as healthy as possible to maintain that. And I'd be certainly trying to do that, to put myself in a position to be hopefully on that plane. If not, then it won't be from a lack of trying, and I'll be able to live with that. And then who knows? Like I said, just try and play for as long as I can and keep enjoying it, because you're a long time retired. So that's my main aim at the moment, and just keep enjoying it. I think I've come back, and after lockdown, I was in a bit of a not struggling with the game. It was just it's been a tough old couple of years, and probably the enjoyment had gone out of it slightly, going into training, having a laugh with the boys. And one thing I've made sure I've gone back into after lockdown is to make sure I've gone in. I'm known as the grumpy character anyway, and which is fine at that. But, you know, I've been trying to make sure I've had a laugh with the boys and enjoyed it. And, you know, I've really enjoyed being back for 6 weeks. We've been back in. We've got a good bunch of boys. And I just enjoy being back amongst the boys, playing rugby. And, you know, that's what it's got to be at the end of the day. If you don't enjoy it, then what's the point?
Exactly, mate. Hey, look, you sound refreshed, pal. So fingers crossed for you, mates. And hopefully, once we get all this malarkey out of the way, we can catch up for a beer properly. And
we'll definitely do that, will we? And everyone's going to do another dance in the background.
Yes, my man. Class, love that. Hey, we'll edit it so he's in there. Tell him he'll be famous.
Oh, I know. He doesn't need any more encouragement, but there's bloody dancing.
That's brilliant, mate. Hey, look, I appreciate you coming on, pal.
Pleasure. Cheers, Robbie, pal. All the best.
No worries, boy. No worries. Big thanks to Tiny Rebel providing the beers as always. So thank you very much. And big thanks to everyone who downloads, subscribes, rates, reviews. You can fire any abuse or feedback at me. Not a problem at all. And we'll catch you next week. Thank you.